means of communication break down, things get weird. Like, yeah, Twitter's having some trouble with their DMs right now, people. So just be careful. Just be careful. Anyway, we're here. And I'm really excited about it. How you guys doing tonight? We haven't planned anything. We've got the title. That's all we're going to talk about.
We triggered the Nimmin.
How could that possibly be triggering?
I don't know.
I'm doing my best to trigger no one. I'm a model internet citizen. I am.
I'm pretty happy that my beard is coming back. Check this out.
Yeah, we're happy too.
No. Thanks.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it was a good experiment, but I don't know. I can't shave my beard off either.
My daughter says today, "Daddy, you look normal." I'm like, "Oh, well, thanks, daughter."
Yeah. I can't shave my beard off either. I've done it a few different times, and yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't.
There's a refreshing feel when you do it first. You're like, "Oh yeah," and then like instant regret. Usually, like a day later.
My face. I feel like my face just looks like oatmeal. You know, it's like it's weird because like this gives my face some kind of definition it doesn't have when there's no hair on it.
I want Viper to grow a beard or something, please, dude, please.
Are you like completely hairless, Viper? Do you like bathe in hair?
Well, you know, every week I cut my hair like completely off. So yeah, we don't mess with that.
Yeah.
Like, do you bick your own hair?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I'd watch that video.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd watch that video, actually. I don't know if I would. It's too creepy. Maybe as long as you kept your shirt on.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, my wife might say otherwise. I remember the day I was going through Instagram and I came across his profile, and like I was scrolling through it. My wife was over my shoulder doing something, and she goes, "Oh, who's that?" And I'm like, "That's Viper." She goes, "Oh, what's his handle? I'm gonna follow him on Instagram."
That must have been a long time ago.
So
ain't nothing on there but tech product now. So. All right, we need to go because we're already late.
Okay.
Are we late?
Yeah. Here comes the theme song.
All right.
Oh my goodness. If it isn't the Painfully Honest Tech Podcast, once again here on a Tuesday. Here we are. It's a little bit after 7 p.m. on Tuesday, the 28th day of April in the year 2020, year of our quarantine.
Year of
2020.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it anymore. I'm very confused. Confused. Well, it's gone beyond weird. Like now it's normal. See, this is where it gets bad because now it's a normal.
If you had told me a year ago that Tom DeLonge would have been justified with the release of those quote unquote leaked UFO videos.
Now they leaked those months ago, though. I saw them months ago too.
Yeah, they came out like a year and a half ago. But now the U.S., the Pentagon has, they've confirmed that they're real. The videos are real.
Yep.
And I mean,
Jermaine's rocking the iPhone 7 Plus right now.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. I guess it's. I mean, do we smell? Why have they never landed and said hello? They're just out there flying around.
I wonder if they're like flying around. They're going, "Hey, what's with the lack of pollution?" And maybe they're like interested. Like, why are we all inside?
Yeah. Isn't it weird though that like has quarantine become like it's not really quarantine because you have to be sick to be quarantined, right? So this is like isolation,
self-isolation. Yeah.
So anyway, has it become like totally normal to you guys? Because it's become totally normal to me now.
Well, when this thing first started, you made a very accurate statement about your circumstances, and mine is pretty much the same as yours. This is pretty much normal to me. I don't really go out much. I go to work and I come home and I do YouTube. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I was definitely freaked out when the whole thing started. Like my brain knew that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just like,
for me, it's just in a couple extra steps of what the normality is for us. Do you know what I mean? So for me, like for example, when I get my sometimes when I get some of my affiliate sales, those are US checks and I can't deposit them through like an app on the phone, right? So I have to physically go to the bank. So to physically go to the bank and then stand so many feet apart from people, not that I was, humping people's backs before, but to be that far apart and then seeing the lines, like that's when it kind of really set in. And of course, being sick with it obviously was a real, real life changer. So.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that's for sure.
I didn't get nearly as sick as some people are. Let's just
So when we're ready, I actually have a topic to broach off. So I'm just going right into the fire whenever we're ready.
Okay.
The fire.
I was going to say something about the only place I've gone is the pharmacy. The pharmacy is the weirdest place to go during the pandemic because you're like, sick people come here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go into the pharmacy. They've got these plastic sheets down, and the card reader is like outside on a table, and you have to. This is a time when I wish I'd set up Apple Pay or something.
The grocery store's like that too. They got the shields and everything, and it's kind of eerie. But I mean, people are for the most part, at least where I live, have been kind of following the rules and following those markers on the floor. Yeah,
I think I haven't. My wife stops at the grocery store on the way home from work. She still has to work. She's got all kinds. She works in adoption, foster care services, and stuff like that. And so she's in charge of there's 120 kids in different spots that she's in charge of. And
you know what the good news is though. According to some officials, you can now go down the cleaning aisle at your local grocery store to get medicine.
Oh yes, of course. I mean,
Lord,
as long as you want to inject yourself with the
no.
Oh my God.
And
Zach is bad.
Just when you think it can't possibly be any stupider.
Anyway, let's talk about tech.
Yeah, let's get on to tech. Viper has to vent about something. I guess we'll let him go before we start talking about the stuff we were going to talk about.
I can see the vein pulsating in his head.
What is
it? So we know. Well, actually, this is going to roll right into the iPhone SE, which I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about at some point tonight. But we know that our buddy Unbox Therapy made a video not too long ago called "Dear Apple."
Oh no,
I didn't watch that one.
He made the Dear Apple video where he was talking about how he doesn't have a relationship with Apple. He would like to start a new relationship with Apple. He would like to establish some line of communication, this, that, and the other. So I think it was yesterday, he released two videos at the same time. He released one called "You Should Buy the iPhone SE," and then he released the contrarian video called "Don't Buy the iPhone SE." Now, for whatever reason, a lot of people like popped shots at him and popped off at him and got mad at him for that second video, completely ignoring the fact that he made two videos, people. He didn't make just the one. He made two. He made a point and a counterpoint video. This is nothing new on YouTube. We have done this before.
Here's the thing. I mean, we have to pay attention to the fact that Lou is a dick, right? And that's what he's doing. He's being a dick.
How is he being a dick when he makes a point and a counterpoint video?
He's being dickish. How's that?
Okay. What he did yesterday is something that I have just done recently. Jason, you have done it. I don't know if Zach has done it, but I'm pretty sure Zach has.
Yeah, I do it all the time, but I don't know. I mean, I don't care. He's entertainment. Nobody cares about what he has to say.
Well, apparently a lot of people care yesterday because they were all over him about that second video.
Views or whatever. They think they're going to get views if they talk about Lou. And Lou just wants people to watch, so he'll talk about whatever he wants to.
I thought it was good that he did two videos on both sides of the coin because I find myself a lot of times I'm there myself.
Yeah, you could make either argument is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And neither argument is exactly wrong.
The thing is, with any tech product, there are going to be pros and cons. He just made an entire video highlighting the pros, and he made an entire video highlighting the cons. Is it normal to do it that way? Not really. But is it new? No, it's not new. I just don't understand why it's a big deal. But I think part of the reason why it's such a big deal is because of the Dear Apple video and the timing of that video, and then the video that he landed yesterday. People were like, "Well, this and that, you don't have a relationship with Apple because you're making a video bashing blah blah blah." And I'm just like,
because he's done it in the past. He's done. Yeah, he did what was it? Don't not buy the whatever it was. Remember that title?
Here's the thing, though. I mean, and this is what I got stuck in, right? Sometimes a company makes a product and there are things about the product that make it not good more than it's good. So when Apple was fucking up before, it made me mad. And I made a lot of videos about how it made me mad. Then Apple starts to turn it around and they start paying attention to the customer and they start doing some things right. They start bringing in some lower priced devices. They start, fixing their keyboards and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, Apple's turning it around. I'm starting to like what they're doing. So now I'm like not negative Apple anymore. And it was as if I had cut the head off someone's dog. Like the way that people react whenever I like switch to talk about something positive that I would have talked about negatively. It's as if I had just literally stomped their dog's head in. This is the internet. This is the internet. So Lou just plays the internet. That's just what he does.
Okay. So admittedly, I've only watched about a third, maybe a half of both videos. But I didn't think there was anything. I don't think there's a big deal about it. I mean, he did two different sides. Sometimes people can do that all together in one video, and it was an unbox therapy video. I think the timing of it, like I think Viper just said, or one of you said it just now about with the timing with the Dear Apple video, which I just kind of face palmed at. Maybe throws a little more gas on the fire. Do you know what I mean?
Didn't even watch the Dear Apple video because after hearing what he was talking about, I did not want to listen to that guy whine like a bitch because he made his bed. He made his bed.
Mm-hmm.
And if Apple doesn't invite a lot of people, right? Apple doesn't invite a lot of people. Apple doesn't give out free stuff to a lot of people. A lot of people don't. They used to not do review units at all. And I actually like that better. Right.
I agree. It was a level playing field, if you will, quote unquote playing field.
Yeah. Now, like the select few are getting the devices before anybody else can get them, and like, so the smaller YouTuber who could have like drafted off of larger YouTubers and gotten some audience,
and even accessories like the Magic Keyboard lately. I was amazed at that. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I was surprised that they sent those out, but I mean, Lou is always going for the view. He doesn't actually care. That wasn't
okay.
Any kind of intellectual exercise. It was just him trying to get views.
My whole point is that what he did yesterday is not a big deal. Everybody in the tech space has done it at one point or another. I don't understand why people are blowing it out of proportion. The problem is they're only focusing on the negative video. And I mean, even if you look at the view count, the negative video has twice the views as the positive video. But you just can't ignore the positive video. There are two videos. It was a point counterpoint type of deal. It wasn't just the one video. The negative video does not exist in its own vacuum. Mm-hmm. So people need to get their heads out of their behind to understand what he was doing. But, because he's Lou, because he's unboxed therapy, and because of the history, they just completely ignore the fact that it was a two-part series and they only focused on the negative parts or whatever.
So I've highlighted Franklin's comment here because, this is exactly what I was talking about before. Whenever I change my mind about something, I'm whining. Whenever I don't like something, I'm whining. Whenever I don't say something that you want to hear me say, I'm whining. So Lou is just playing the game, and basically he's really good at it. That's why he is who he is. He's really good at it. He got into it at the right time, and he's got 16 point something million subscribers. But those videos, there was nothing special about either of those videos. Nothing special at all. They weren't even interesting in the context of unbox therapy videos. They were just, it was like, once you got the joke, you wasted 20 minutes of your life. It's like, oh, I get the joke. And then, like you said, Zach, you only watched a third of the video.
Yeah.
Once you understand what the joke is, then why in the hell, I don't know.
Like I said, I understand why he did both, and I don't think it's a big deal. And I was kind of blown away by my timeline today, or my sub feed showing other creators that I know. I'm not judging people. I just how a lot of people were focusing on the don't buy SE video. Like he did 2 videos, you know that, right?
Yeah,
and
but
it was
the
just
thing is, part of what he was saying is a group of people are saying what he said in the first video, and then a group of people are saying what he said in the second video, right? And so he's making both videos to show that you can make both videos. So people are reacting to the second video because he's standing in as like the other person who made the video talking about how the SE is trash and can Apple do better, right? There's all kinds of videos out there like that. You know?
Well, okay, let's use that that line there. The SE is trash, or maybe not trash, to kind of transition to our main topic today. The topic of this podcast, which is, you know, which iPhone, if any, should you buy? So, Jason, do you want to lead us off, like what your thought process is about that in terms of?
Okay.
Oh wow! Okay. No, we need to let Jason address that.
So here's the thing, man. Here's the thing.
I should have brought a
I do the work that I do. If it's not for you, why are you here? Thanks for the views. Thanks for the algorithm boost. But if you don't like what I do, go away. Period. Okay? Thank you.
Ooh, Jay, he's a little bit nicer than I am, but hey, there you go. There you go.
You know, I mean, I'm an adult. I'm
gonna fly down and give you a hug.
Thanks.
After this is over.
That really hurt. That comment really hurt me. I'm very, like, I'm so tender right now. I have emotional problems already. I take so many pills. I'm such a bitch. I'm such a whiny bitch. My life is just so terrible, and I'm scared that I'm gonna fail.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Oh, Zach with the timing. It's just
you know what? Like right now, I don't know. My channel might be dying. I have no idea. I have no idea. Like,
I don't think it is.
Since freaking January, the channel, like, the views just went off the table. Like I don't know what the heck's going on. I'm getting better views right now, but they're still nowhere near what they were when I was getting. So I have no idea. And I finally had to come to the realization that it doesn't freaking matter. If it doesn't pan out, if it doesn't continue to do its thing, I'm going to continue to do my thing, right? So I have done a lot of stuff to try and make the videos more interesting to me because I think I was in kind of a rut in making the videos. So I've tried to make them more interesting to me, and hopefully that made them more interesting to people. But anyway, rant over. I don't really give shit. Okay. Anyway.
So Zach was asking, which iPhone should people buy?
Yeah. Well, that is a good question. I've got 4 iPhones right here.
I got 3. That's crazy.
Yeah. I got 4 iPhones right here. I've got the iPhone 11. I've got the iPhone 7 Plus, which I just did a video on today. I got the iPhone SE, the OG SE.
That's the original one, eh?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I've got the new SE, right?
Nice.
Now, the reason I wanted to have this be a topic is because I think the conversation of which iPhone should you buy is more interesting than like which of the ones that just came out this past year, right? Like, should you buy a new iPhone? That's one thing that so like everybody's like, you and Travis and Kevin Breeze are doing these things. It's like we're all doing streams on Amazon where we discovered Amazon Renewed and how cheap they're selling phones and how generally good the phones are in condition wise. So we're all just kind of like, it's definitely made me think a lot more about, I was already on the $1,000 phones are stupid train. Now I'm just now there's even more options out there.
Yeah.
You know,
I think okay, so how do I word this? Outside of the tech niche, outside of us enthusiasts, people listening, people watching, I want to say, I hate using this term, average consumer, everyday tech consumer, an iPhone is an iPhone is an iPhone to everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And if you really want to break it down to the differences between like a 7 and an 8, an 11 and an SE really come down to screen size, screen type, headphone jack or not, and cameras. Other than that, they're all going to get the same sort of updates. They all support the same sort of apps. They all have iMessage. They all have AirDrop. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
An iPhone is an iPhone is an iPhone. So when the question comes, which iPhone should you buy, if any, my first question to you will be, yeah, quack. Thank you for we got 2 super chats. 504 with the 1008
doubled his normal super chat. I appreciate that.
Yeah, 504
super chats are open. Thank you, people.
And
Much
Matt McCourt with 513. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna give you guys this one here.
There we go.
Anyway, and one of these.
Yes, science.
So my first question to you would be this: what is your budget? Okay, and then depending on your budget, direct you either this way or that way. And then last week I was talking about when you're looking at buying a cell phone, you probably want to list your top 10 things you want. Realize you're probably going to get only maybe the top 5 things. So, for example, if you want to have an awesome camera experience and video experience, I'm going to tell you to go get like the 11 Pro Max or 11 Pro, for example. Okay.
You know, since Viper is not that smart to use an ND filter, I'm not Peter McKinnon. So whatever you get from me, it's straight out of camera, baby. It's straight out of camera.
There you go. So
expensive camera. That's all.
That would be my first thing, which is, what is your budget? And then from there, you can kind of break it down. Other than that, an iPhone is an iPhone is an iPhone, in my opinion. So,
yeah, I think I might have. Thank you, Rashid, for the $3.99. Much appreciated. I think that deserves a quack. Robert Page had that comment up there. The era of needing the newest iPhone is over. And it's not just because, to me, it's not just because it's not a fashion statement anymore. Or Robert Pepe, I'm sorry. My eyeballs are not as good as they once were. They were never very good. Since 2000, I'll be conservative and say, now, that's the only time you'll ever hear me say that. But conservatively, I would say that since 2013 or 2017, since 2017, the phones that come out year after year after year are not different enough to warrant $1,000 price tag and to warrant going each year to get the phone that has the new $1,000 price tag. And maybe using the iPhone 7 Plus, right?
Yeah, I saw your review on it. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. It's refreshing.
The thing that I like about it, this feels different. This is a thinner phone than the 11. The 11 is a thick bugger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's a little broader across the back. Oh, new members. Thank you very much.
Yes,
new membership.
science.
Woohoo! So, it feels different. It took me a couple of days to get used to Touch ID, but once you do, the only thing that I miss about Touch ID versus Face ID is having to touch my phone on the home button when I want to get into my banking app or whatever. Because that Face ID unlock for apps is slick as hell.
Do you guys find the bezels at the top and bottom intrusive?
No.
Nope.
Or do you find it distracting?
Nope.
No, because the thing is, the bezels are like good handles. It's like you've got the whole picture on the screen, and none of it's dipping off the edge.
Yeah.
It's just a rectangle, and you can hold your phone like this. They're
like love handles. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago where we were all deep into the bezel life anyway, so it's not that old.
And the thing is, like, I think this whole bezel thing, it's like the thigh gap thing, right? Like a while ago, that everybody was going to the gym to try and get the thigh gap, right? That's what I kept hearing.
Just I want to be really clear, ladies. Zach appreciates the thighs.
Damn right.
Yeah.
But bezels are just fashion. It's just a fashion. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't have anything to do with whether or not the phone is any good. It's just fashion. Bezels, small or large, is just fashion. You're calling my iPhone 7 Plus fat? You're fat shaming my iPhone 7 Plus?
I don't know. I don't mind a little bit of thickness.
Superficial stuff. Oh my goodness. Ooh, yeah.
Well,
But yeah, you're right. It has nothing to do with the actual functionality of the phone. Nothing at all.
Yeah. I'm in fact, I mean, I say in a lot of ways it impedes the functionality of the phone. Like if I can't hold the phone without accidentally touching something and making it go away from what I was trying to do, then that's messing up the functionality of the phone.
Yeah, Samsung.
Okay. Oh no. Samsung is good with this. It's OnePlus that's messing up.
Oh no.
I still have problems. Like I will say that the Note 9 that I have isn't giving me the same kind of problems that the Note 10 and the S10 did. And the S20 didn't give me as many problems either. But the Note 9, there's something about the way that the sides are very thin, but they seem to keep your fingers away from the screen. And the bezels are a little bit more reasonable.
Okay, I want to rein this in because we've gone a little bit off the path here a little bit. So I guess I'll ask.
Supposed to do?
No, I mean we didn't even discuss today. We're just like, yeah. I mean,
this is the free for all. I'm here for this.
Today's Twitter DMs between us before Twitter decided to break everybody was me saying, hey, because you everybody else got their iPhone SE. It seems like,
yeah.
And anybody in the Calgary area where I live in Southern Alberta, apparently the FedEx plane that has our phones is in Anchorage, Alaska. Now that's okay. I understand that the plane is stuck there, but it says my update says out for delivery. Okay, I live really far from Anchorage.
Coming by sled dogs, man. Coming by sled dogs over the tundra.
If you're out for delivery in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'm in Calgary, like
I mean, you only have to wait another 2 weeks.
So
I feel your pain, man. You know me. This thing is 3 days late. I was supposed to have this on Friday, and it just got here yesterday. So I don't know what's going on.
I mean, when deliveries are late, to the Twitter, Viper goes.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna ask Viper the question again. I mean, just like the title says here, which iPhone, if any, should you buy? Like, what's your criteria? Like, what would your criteria be? Like the guidelines you would give somebody, Viper.
All right. So I just talked about this in my video today. This iPhone SE, this 2020 version, is not for most people that watch tech videos on YouTube. It's not for you. The phone is not made for the hardcore nerd. It's not made for the hardcore techie. It's not made for you tech reviewers who like to moan and complain about what it can't do. It's not for you. This phone is for the everyday Joe that is still rocking an iPhone 6, 7, or 8. I would even argue if you have an iPhone 10 or newer, this is probably not for you because you don't really want to go back in time with this design. But if you have an iPhone 8 or older, then you should definitely look at this because this is the best iPhone in that price range you can buy right now if you don't want one of the newer all-screen models. So, again, it basically depends on what you want. If you don't want to spend a whole ton of money on an iPhone, this is the best option.
What's that meme that says, like, I don't believe you? That's from Ron Burgundy, right? So when people make that those titles, those videos, I'm switching the iPhone SE. That's the first thing I think is, I don't believe you.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, I might make that video because I might stay with this phone. There's one thing that would keep me from staying with this phone. One thing and one thing only.
What's that? Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is.
Maybe two things, but one thing specifically.
Yeah.
And that would be what, Viper?
I'm gonna guess you're gonna say battery. For me, it's the size. I can't use a small phone anymore.
It's the headphone jack, dude. Come on.
No, I mean,
it doesn't have a headphone jack though.
It doesn't have the headphone jack.
Right, yeah.
I have to accept that that's a thing. I'm not gonna whine about it other than just like to mention it every freaking time a new phone comes out. But it's the battery.
Yeah, the battery is terrible.
Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about the 7.
So here's my experience since last Friday. I got it last Friday. I like that, Zach. That's like, it's very emo.
You like that?
So I got it last Friday. I charged it up completely. It came at 80%, so I just charged it up completely. I don't really trust the first battery discharge because, I just let it go through the cycle once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
Over the weekend, I was actually airplaying stuff from the HBO app on here because for some reason I couldn't log into the HBO app on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I don't know if it was that, or I don't know if it was just like it's the weekend and I'm sitting around more and I'm using the phone more, but I was like 30%, like 6 o'clock in the evening, less than 12 hours, maybe 13 hours off the charger. Now, the thing is though, I mean, I don't know how accurate or how the battery thing in the settings calculates the screen on time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was telling me that I had I was getting in between 4 and 5 hours of screen on time.
That's decent.
So right now I'm at 50%. I've got 2 hours and 40 minutes of screen on time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I mean, theoretically I should get almost 5 hours of screen on time, but we all know that's not how it works. Once the phone hits 20%, you've jumped off the cliff, and pretty soon it's going to be a 0. I don't know why it's that way. It's just always been that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that you can trust that you'll be able to get more than 4 hours of screen on time with this phone.
This phone battery is anemic. It's bad. But then again, I'm not surprised because all of the 9 Plus iPhone models have been bad up until last year. The iPhone 11 Pro was the first iPhone, normal size iPhone that had decent battery life. All the rest of the iPhones, like the 10, the iPhone 7, 6, 7, 8, they've all had terrible battery life.
Yep.
Apple has only recently begun to address the battery issue with iPhone. So hopefully from now on, we'll get better batteries with these iPhones. But up until last year, the battery life has always been anemic, and this phone is anemic. It's too small.
And I'm not saying you're wrong, Viper, but let's also go back to what we all said before, which is we as tech reviewers, tech enthusiasts might think it's bad, but I can guarantee you that who the phone's targeted at is going to go, there's no problem.
I try and think of it as almost like a safety issue, right?
Like how so?
Because what's the worst thing that could happen to you if you're in an emergency situation?
Well, your phone doesn't turn on, or
your phone battery is dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And so here's why I think of it as a safety thing. My daughter has an iPhone XR.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a lot more confident with her having an iPhone XR and potentially, she's not living in the house right now, but potentially getting into a situation where I need to be in touch with her. And the iPhone XR battery is infinitely better than this SE, right? So even though the iPhone XR is more expensive, I feel more comfortable having my kid have that phone, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because the battery life is longer.
Yeah.
And so on that front, I mean, if smartphones have become truly utilitarian things, then we have to start judging them on qualities like that. How much battery is this, and how does that affect the usage, and how could that usage be affected, in terms of safety or whatever?
Well, I'll give an example. Both my parents have iPhone 6s, not the 6S. They have iPhone 6s. And it's only, I think it was it was back in October. My dad took his 6 into the Apple store. He was down in Phoenix. They're snowbirds. And they swapped out the battery because he was eligible for that program. But given how old the 6 is, that was the first time in however old that phone is, that he was down there and he's like, man, I'm always plugging this in. It seems like it dies right away. I don't really use it much. It's not always GPS. We're just sitting at the house and everything. And I told my dad, I said, hey, go to the Apple website, run the serial number, make sure you're eligible, and then just pop in at the Apple store down there. And they did. They popped it in and they threw a battery in. But I mean, it got me thinking, how old is the 6? 4 or 5 years old?
The 6 came out in 2015.
Yeah. So last year, 4 years, we'll say 4 years, right? So
yeah, this is year 5.
I mean, that's pretty good for 4 years. I mean, that's for lithium-ion batteries.
You don't notice. When you're using a phone over time, you don't notice that the phone is like slowly losing its capacity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something that doesn't affect your day-to-day life. But next thing you know, you've got like 70% of battery life available to you. I like that Apple tells you now that, because like when I got this iPhone 7 Plus, it has 87% battery life left. So this is a phone that came out in 2017.
Okay.
And so 3-year-old phone, 87% battery life left, still eligible to get the battery replaced.
So with the Amazon Renewed program, do they give you a list of what they do? Like, do they replace the battery or anything like that? Like, what do you know of?
No, the Amazon Renewed program, at least for iPhones, because iPhones can specifically tell you the health of the battery.
Yeah.
They guarantee 80%.
Okay, so do you think they're putting new batteries in there, or is that original? Do you think that's an original?
I think it has to be the original.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you own an 8 or older, it costs you $30 to get a new battery at the Apple Store. 30.
That's good.
30. And if you own an iPhone 10 or any of the newer body styles, it's like $60, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're making a multi-year investment in something, do we bitch and complain when the batteries die on our cars? I mean, yes, probably because it happens when it's like 3 degrees outside and it's, sucks. But that's an expected thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to do maintenance on your car. And, the car is a utilitarian thing. People need cars to drive around and to do stuff. So I look at the iPhone SE and I'll say this. I don't think that there's no reason for anybody to buy this. I think that this is a good phone, and I think it will be a good phone for a lot of people who couldn't have an iPhone before.
Yep.
However, it's sort of like buying a Nissan Leaf, right? Because like a Nissan Leaf only has like its limited range of however like many miles.
What's a Nissan Leaf?
It's an electric vehicle.
Okay, so, I've never heard of it. Never heard of that.
Yeah, so basically it was one of the first ones on the market. And I think it only has like a 35-mile range.
Okay.
And that's it.
Wow.
No gas engine like in the Volt that can kick in and like take you another 200 miles. There's just 30 miles. So so the iPhone SE 2020 is kind of like that. You are making compromises when you buy this phone, but are you making as many compromises? Here's the question. Are you making as many compromises when you buy the iPhone SE as you would be if you bought another phone at $400?
I'm assuming you mean like an Android device, because there's no other iPhones at that price range.
Well, there are. I mean, they're
okay. Sorry, yeah. I would say that the SE at new at $400 is a tremendously good deal. Like,
yeah,
a no-brainer.
The SE is the budget steal of the year right now. It's no other budget phone in that range is better than the SE.
When it comes to the tier 2 or I guess tier 2 type devices, or non-flagship, I guess, if you will, like, this is Apple's solution. Ultimate solution, like directly from them, outside of Renew programs, but that's through Amazon or whatever. So they've basically thrown their cards down and said, okay, what's everybody else doing? So as an example, if I'm looking at good value tier 2 type devices, we know TCL has got their 10L.
I just got an email that it's shipping tomorrow.
Yeah, and I got that as well.
Oh, you got the email too. Okay.
Just before we started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. I don't think we're supposed to talk about that. Anyway.
No, we could talk about it. We just can't make review videos until touch date.
Yeah. So anyway, CCL's got their 10L coming, and then the 10 Pro, but they've actually directly said in their marketing and in their press release that we consider this to be tier 2 secondary. Like it's not meant to compete with the Pros and the Galaxies and everything like that, right? So that's how you have to kind of compare against if you want to go Android against Apple.
It's the same thing that OnePlus did when they first came out. They didn't compete in the high end. They competed in the tier 2 mid range, as Zach would call it. They were like what $400 or $500 when they first came out 6-7 years ago. Now over the past 6-7 years, they've had success, and now they're making more premium devices. But when they first came on the scene, they weren't making premium devices like that.
I'll say this: Google's Pixel 4a has to come in at a 400 or 450 price point for people that are able to switch back and forth.
I just want to know, where the hell is it? Where is the phone? I've heard nothing. I've got no communication. Google, where's the phone?
The buds came out of nowhere yesterday. Hey,
right? Like what's going on here? Where is the phone? We want the phone, man.
Yeah. So here's the thing about the 3A and the assumed 4A, right? Last year, I thought the 3A was a brilliant move on the part of Google, because they're not going to sell as many flagship phones as Samsung or Apple, right? They're not going to sell as many $900 Pixels. But if you get that camera into a body of a phone that costs $350, $400 something dollars, that was a pretty good move to make. I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, okay. However, now that we've got the iPhone SE and it's premium build, okay, I mean, we can talk about how it's like the old style or whatever, but the materials are nice.
It's premium, yeah,
made out of plastic, right? It feels good. It feels good in the hand.
It does.
It does.
It does.
Need that sound piece.
Yes, you do. Get it.
I need that. I need it.
It feels good in the hand. It's got, well, there's something I want to talk about the camera. An article I just read before we came on, but it takes amazing photos for a
video.
Yeah,
and video.
Well, iPhones have always won video,
and that's and part of that is not just because it has the hardware. A major part of this is obviously the software. I mean, huge, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for the majority of people who are going out to shop for a smartphone, so I won't say average consumer, I'll just say people who go out and shop for a smartphone, they're not judging their smartphones in the same way that any of the 126 people who are watching this show right now would judge their smartphone.
And
right?
That's what I said today in my video. Yep.
So the iPhone SE all of a sudden is like, it's going to be the best selling phone of 2020.
Easily.
Yes, the 10R of this year. Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. It might be the best selling phone of 2021.
I mean, let's be real. iPhone stimulus edition. That's what this is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, it really is. I mean, unbeknownst to Apple,
like, the Apple execs they were all sitting around the table and they're like, we want to use that so bad.
Now, Jason, you say it feels good in the hands, and I absolutely agree with you. But there is no way I can use that phone without a case. I got to have a case on this bad boy.
I've been caseless with mine. It feels good. I like it.
I love rocking a naked phone. It's fun.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. This phone, actually, I feel more comfortable holding this phone than I would like a bigger phone.
About that, probably due to the size, but still, like with the glossy back, it's a little slippery. Look, not too slippery, but still a little slippery. And
I mean, that red with the black front is
right here.
I mean, that's sexy.
Guy?
Yes, it is.
This guy, this guy feels really good. Now, I miss the metal phone.
I mean, here's my 11 Pro Max. I know that everybody got the green, but I really dig that gray. Like, I've always liked the way that the light bounced off it.
Yeah.
So, Jason.
Yep.
You so you have the SE, obviously. So the screen size doesn't bother you at all?
No. Because here's the thing. Like, the screen's smaller. I hold it closer to my face. Right?
No, it's not even that though. It's just, well, I guess just for me, it's just so weird because I'm so used to using big phones. I have an S20 Ultra. I got the 11 Pro Max. I'm just used to bigger phones. So when I'm using this, I feel like my hands are bigger than the whole damn display.
I went from the Note 9 to the SE.
Whew,
and I was like, okay, this is cool. Whatever.
There's 131 souls with us right now that I can see.
132 according to my.
What's up, people?
Why aren't there more likes? Hit those like buttons.
But like when I'm trying to use the keyboard on this SE, it's just like crazy because my thumbs are like so big compared to the real estate that we have with the keyboard. It's just hard to use.
That's why you got to swipe, man.
I was gonna ask you, isn't the swipe gestures a little bit easier?
I don't swipe on iPhone. Don't use typing.
So one thing I will say, and this has always been the case, and you can hate me if you want to, the typing experience on the iPhone keyboard is so much better than any keyboard that you can get on Google.
The best ever.
I disagree.
I mean, I can't, like, it doesn't have haptic feedback. It doesn't have any of those things, but for some reason I'm more accurate.
The best ever. Yes.
I'm more accurate. It's easier to get around the keyboard. The Google stuff, they've never quite figured it out.
Okay. So clearly you've taken the wrong medication today, but I'm going to, I'm just kidding. I find the keyboard experience on the iPhone on par with Androids that I put Swift key on. Not the default Android keyboard or Samsung's or whatever it is. As long as I use Swift key, it feels the same as when I'm using an iPhone, if not more accurate.
Swift key on Android is like legendary.
Yeah.
I haven't used Swift key for a while. Ever since Google's keyboard got swipe functionality, I swipe a lot more on an Android phone. A lot more.
Swifty was really good about a year ago, and then they stopped putting like your data in the cloud and everything, and because of a restriction that Android put in for security purposes, which I understand. So your predictions and everything that are more localized on the device, like for example, if I went from my Note here to when I get my TCL device, I'm not gonna be able to transfer over that information. But I have a good experience with both. I find the predictability with Swift key a little more accurate because it seems to be a little more intuitive. So
somebody asked me in the chat that I have an issue with the small iPhone back in the day. So here's the thing. Ever since plus size iPhones have existed, I've had a plus size iPhone. So when the 6 and 6 Plus came out, I had a 6 Plus, I had a 7 Plus, obviously I had the 10, and then the 10S Max and 11 Pro Max. I tried to go back to the 6S for a while, and I couldn't do it. I ended up selling it, and then I got a 6S Plus. So even after using the 6 Plus, I tried to go back down to the smaller iPhones. I couldn't do it.
This guy. Now, if you want to go small,
yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
Go back to the original.
I can't do it. Not today.
So I'm doing a video where I'm gonna compare using this to using the new SE.
I mean,
and we'll see how it is. This is an entirely different experience. This, you can't compare the experience of using this to like using a Note 9 or any of the iPhone Plus phones or anything like that. It's just a different thing. The design of the smaller iPhones back in the day was designed to be good for different reasons.
I mean, this feels like a chiclet in my hand.
Yeah.
Steve
Jobs wanted something that was super powerful that you could use with one hand.
Yep.
That you could reach every corner with your thumb, and he figured that was the best ergonomic way to use a phone.
Listen, man, I don't have a problem with the smaller iPhones of yesteryear. I used them. I had an iPhone 4, 4S, and 5, and 5S. I had all of those. But once you go big, it's hard to go back. It's extremely difficult to go back once you go big, especially for the period of time I've gone big. Like, it's hard, man. Oh, God. It's hard, man. I have been using plus-size iPhones since 2014. So when you throw an iPhone SE in front of me, I'm like, oh, what is going on?
So I threw up Sarah's comment here. I have multiple Androids and iPhones. Agree with Jason. Thank you. Hate Android keyboards. Samsung is the worst.
I don't hate them, but she's right. Samsung keyboards are usually
Samsung keyboard. Every time I use a Samsung keyboard, I feel like I'm holding a bar of soap, and the thing is about to just fall out of my hands.
You need soap on a rope.
Oh Lord!
I don't want to have to wear a thong with my phone.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Samsung keyboard. They never feel that comfortable with me. I would definitely Gboard is a lot better on the Android side to me, and Gboard and Swipe are better. But the Samsung keyboard, I don't know.
I like that the Samsung keyboard has a lot more sort of like long press options and the number row. I mean,
Yep.
number row and all that. Samsung's keyboard has a lot more options that you can use straight from the default keyboard. But man, it is a shitty experience. It is terrible.
Woo! I don't know where we got Savage Jason from tonight, but I'm enjoying this. I love it.
I took a nap earlier.
There's a question. There's a question here. If you want to highlight this one from David Soward, I own the 11 Pro. Should I give the SE a shot? I would say, you will be. I would say that the first thing you're going to notice right away is the screen size and the camera experience. You might notice that if camera's big on your list, you're going to notice that right away. So other than that, I would say that's kind of a backwards move.
Let me step in here because going from an 11 Pro to an SE, you're going to experience a culture shock. Like I said in my video earlier today, the SE is noticeably slower than the 11 Pro model. And I think that's because the SE has 3 gigabytes of RAM, where the Pro models have 4 gigabytes of RAM. And the 11 Pro models have twice the touch responsiveness of the SE. The SE has a 60 hertz touch responsive rate. The 11 Pro models have a 120 hertz touch responsiveness rate. So you might experience some culture shock. I don't know if I would advise that unless you're just trying to save some money. Then by all means go ahead. But if you have the means to keep the 11 Pro, just stick with the 11 Pro, man.
Here's what I did. I had the 11 Pro, and I liked it. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. It was a great phone. I figured that I could sell the 11 Pro and just then go get an iPhone 11. So I had an 11 Pro with 64 gigabytes, right? I could get an iPhone 11 with 256 for the same price as what I could sell my 64 gig 11 Pro for. So I went and got an iPhone 11 with 256 gigs, which, I mean, honestly, 256 is more than anybody needs this day and age. Unless you're going to get on an airplane and you want to have like 20 movies on your phone, nobody needs that much. So I will say that whereas Viper, I mean, I'm not doubting you. And I'm not doubting the people who also say that they notice a difference when they go from these different screens. I haven't noticed a difference so I've got 4 different vintages of iPhones right here. And I don't notice a difference in performance between any of them when I go from one to the other. I mean, there might be, but it's within a margin of error that doesn't register.
Yeah. I don't think the typical Apple user, everyday consumer, whatever you want to call them, would notice unless they're doing a bunch of tasks all the time.
Hey, Jason, do you still have a Galaxy S20 Ultra on your person, or do you not?
No.
And you don't have any of the Galaxy S20 devices, right?
Nope.
Okay, maybe I'm more susceptible to it because I do have an S20 Ultra, so I'm using a phone with 120 hertz refresh rate, so maybe that's part of it too, and I could just detect those differences because I still have that phone. But using and I normally don't use the phone side by side, but using the SE right after I use the 11 Pro Max, I can definitely tell. It's not a major difference, but I can definitely detect a slight slowdown on the SE as opposed to the 11 Pro Max. But is it like crazy major? No, not at all.
See, the only time I think people would really notice, and this is, why people complain about lag on Android phones, is if the phone was not running smoothly. If you were having jitters in between, going from app to app or whatever, like the iPhone has never had that problem. It's always been very smooth, no matter what. So I think that when the phone lags or something like that, and it breaks the illusion, that's when people notice and start to get frustrated.
Yep.
And I don't think that, regardless of what iPhone you have, I don't think that that's an issue. So, yeah, I mean, even when I went from the 11 or the S20 Pro Ultra Max, whatever, back to the iPhone 11, there was nothing. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I'd stepped back in time. I didn't feel like I was having a worse experience. Using the Note 9, I totally enjoy using the Note 9. In fact, I like using the Note 9 more because the overall experience somehow is better. But yeah, I mean, I'm just not. Maybe it's because I go back and forth between different devices so often that I don't get used to 120 hertz. And so I don't then notice it when I don't have it. I don't know. I've never really noticed. I've never really noticed it.
Interesting. I'm really gonna need Twitter to fix their damn DM because number one, I'm tired of getting a badge for having a DM when I don't have a DM. Number two, I got people to DM Twitter. I need you to get your stuff together. Damn it.
People need to slide in.
Now let's also keep in mind, despite all these little quirks and differences, screen and speed differences with the new SE and things like that. At the end of the day, like I said at the start of the podcast here, across the board with all iPhones, you're going to get 5, up to 5, if not more years, depending on the device, of updates. You're going to get AirDrop, you're going to get iMessage, you're going to get that seamless ecosystem experience, which a lot of people just love. And that's just so hard to beat. It's so hard to beat when you're in there. Yeah.
You can't beat it right now.
Yeah. I mean, for myself as a creator, I love it because for creations like that, I've always felt that I'm more productive and I can get more things done faster with my Androids. But I mean, like I said, when I went on vacation, I took iPad, my Apple Watch with me, and my iPhone, because I could get so much done if I wanted to and everything like that. And it's just comforting, right? So I credit Samsung and OnePlus, for example, for working on their updates more often with Android. But as long as Android is the way it is and open and source and this and that, you're not going to get those security updates that you want over so many years or anything like that. I mean, you'll get your app updates and everything like that, but
yeah.
So, go ahead.
So I put this up. Sweetness STMG's comments. He says, or she, it's gender neutral, so I don't know. iPhone 7 to the SE, definitely worth it.
Absolutely.
And I agree. I agree. However, I would say iPhone 7 Plus to the SE, maybe not.
Well, what's the difference? I mean, the biggest. What? Okay,
so,
sorry.
Battery life on the Plus phone's always better.
Yeah, battery life will be better.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you got better battery life out of the gate, even if it's an older phone, and you can get the battery replaced if you want to for $30. Right? You get bigger. You get a bigger screen and a bigger phone. And I bought this 128 gig iPhone SE or 7 Plus for $250.
The only issue with that, Jason, is that we don't know how close it is to being on a chopping block as far as support. It's already 4 years old. So,
well, no. I mean, so the 6S goes out after this year, after iOS 13. So it's at least going to get iOS 14, probably iOS 15. It's definitely going to get 14 though. So if you're buying so it came out in 2017, so it's a 3-year-old phone. 16.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a 3+ year-old phone. If you get 2 more years of life out of a 3+year-old phone, and it only costs you after you change the battery less than $300, I don't know, man, because there's not really that much difference between in the experience here. The cameras are going to be slightly not as good, but the iPhone cameras have always been good.
Yeah.
Right. The video has always been better than Android.
It's not going to be
back
bad.
to an iPhone 4 and probably a better video than Android.
All right. What the hell is Alan Mobley talking about? Pixel. Oh my God. You guys know that these phones get update faster and longer. You're misleading people. What are you talking about? Please tell me you're not talking about the Android Pixel phone.
No, nobody buys the Pixels. Okay. nobody buys the Pixel. So
I wouldn't even go in there, but okay.
Nobody buys it. I mean, the market share is like 2%.
Not to mention the Pixel.
I don't need to give them credit for anything because they can't sell a phone.
And not to mention, they don't get supported for nearly as long as iPhones. I mean, you'll be lucky if a Pixel phone is supported for 3 years. You'll be lucky. It's usually 2 to 3 years, and that's pretty much it. With iPhones, just about at least 4 to 5 years, man. Like, no.
Yeah, in fact, didn't Pixel just like cut their support of like the original Pixel phone last year?
Yep.
They were like, they said, oh, it's going to be a long time, and then they were just like,
yeah. I mean, that's Google. They start projects, and there's a website dedicated to showing what projects Google's killed off over the years. It's depressing when you go through. You're like,
oh man,
oh wow.
I mean, I'm still waiting for the modular phone. I want the Lego phone that I can like put my headphone jack in and all that kind of stuff.
I mean,
I think Google's missed a huge opportunity. I mean, they've only recently updated and kind of launched it in the last week or so, but with the whole quarantine thing and people being inside, everybody's been using Zoom. Well, apparently Google has something called Google Meet. I've never heard about it until like the last couple of weeks.
Are you about Hangouts Meet or maybe or whatever?
I think it was called Hangouts Meet, but now it's just called Google Meet.
Okay, I know Google has like a Hangout for business, not the Hangout that they axed last year, fool. But yeah,
but see, here we are. We don't know. Like we've never. Do you know what I mean? Like there's.
Yeah.
You think of all tech companies. Google could do.
The only thing is that you only have access to that if you have a G Suite, which a lot of us do probably. But
costs money.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right.
I have G Suite.
It's their business platform, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and here, so the Pixel was supported for 3 years, which for an Android phone is really good.
It is.
But compared to an iPhone, you're barely halfway. You're 60% through the lifespan of the phone if you want to keep it for the length of time that it will get updates. And I mean, I'm not being pro iPhone or anti Android by stating the facts that iPhones are supported for longer. Show me an Android phone. Show me an Android phone that gets 5 years of iOS of updates.
Listen, man, everybody on this panel right now, we all dual wield. Okay, we all have iPhones and Android, so it's not no bias going on here. We have both devices, so we're just letting you know the facts as they are.
And I have a BlackBerry that I'm using as a doorstop. I've got all fucking 3 of them. Excuse the language.
What are you doing over there with a BlackBerry?
It's a doorstop. It's wonderful. It's a conversation piece.
I tell you what, I had the BlackBerry Priv for a while when they first came back out, their first Android phone.
Yes, the Priv.
I like that phone a lot.
I used to have a BlackBerry Playbook for work. Not anymore though.
You know who loves the BlackBerry?
Mr. Mobile.
Michael Fisher.
I don't think he'll ever let his love for BlackBerry die, like ever.
No, but now BlackBerry gone again.
Yeah. On again.
TCL done killed them.
They'll probably be back though. No, on BlackBerry, they'll find a way back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think they had a moment.
BBM was awesome.
It was the greatest.
They had a moment. They couldn't pivot. Once like the iOS style app thing started. They couldn't pivot. So they died.
It comes down to app support. Like unless you can get developers on board to make apps,
right?
Things die. Ask Microsoft.
Yeah, Windows Phone was awesome.
Windows Phone was really good. It was.
I had a couple of different Windows like Nokia phones. I thought they were like the big, was it the 1020 or the something like that? It was like a big. It just looked like a.
It had the big 40 megapixel camera, right?
Yeah. Man, those things were so great.
Yeah.
But having to find workarounds for the apps that you use all the time was. You would think Microsoft of all people, of all companies, could somehow incentivize.
Well, I think they did. It just wasn't. When you look at North America, for example, the majority, and this is just factual, the majority of people have iPhones in their pockets, right?
Yep.
When you go to Europe, Android is much larger. So is WhatsApp, for example, as a messaging system, right? So I think you have to kind of look and go, okay, where's the money?
Yeah.
Right. Where is the money as an app developer, and then the support, and then that's how things fall apart.
Okay, Zach, I have a question. I know you are the foremost expert in this particular subject area because I don't know. What is the difference between the TCL, the 10L, and the 10 Pro? What is the difference?
The main difference is the processor is down. I can't. They're both 765s, I believe. I believe the 10L is a 55 rather than a 65, and battery size and the fingerprint reader on the 10L is on the back. On the Pro, it's on the front underneath, like it's in display.
Interesting. Okay.
Other than that, they have the exact same camera setups on both the front and back, which is obviously a main focus for most people. So, but those are the three things that I can think off the top of my head. So
thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, the 10 they're solid devices. The 10L actually comes in better colors in my opinion. So the Pro the Pro is sexy too. So
I'm looking forward to trying them out because again, like.
They were fun to use at CES. They were fun to use.
There's something going on. The most interesting phones of 2020 are the phones that do not cost.
Well, again, it comes back down to value for
money.
Yeah, exactly. And like for example, when I was using the TCL 10 Pro and the 10L at TCL's booth there, I was in their lounge area. They had like wine and cheese and potato chips. Anyway, I was sitting there for at least 20, 30 minutes, but I was waiting for my rep to come over so we could talk more. He's like, here, try these out and everything. You can take pictures and everything like that, but you can't forward anything to yourself. I took a bunch of selfies, and when you use a Pixel phone, for example, and you take a selfie like a portrait mode photo, it takes a photo, and then you see that moment where it kind of clicks and like the processing happens, and you get the blurred out background.
Right.
The selfies felt like as I was looking on the phone, the selfies felt like very pixel-ish. Do you know what I mean? Not like, I don't want to say overly processed, but it felt like using a pixel. Okay, that's what it felt like at that time. And the rear cameras I thought were great and everything like that. Now, do I think the TCLs are going to have outstanding cameras like against like an iPhone 11 Pro Max, for example? No. But do I think people that are looking for phones in that range are looking for that? No. So
yeah, I think the big problem for TCL out the gate is going to be notoriety, and they don't really have any cachet in the game because they're using their own like parent name, and nobody knows anything about TCL phones. But that'll be up to me, you, and Jason to get the notoriety out there, and then we'll go from there. But let's transition. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I think they'll be. I mean, if they like you said, they're anything like their TV, then we're in for a treat. I'm gonna transition over with Jason back to the iPhone SE and the camera. I took pictures. I took pictures with this, and I took pictures with my 11 Pro Max, and I like compared them side by side. Jason, there are practically no damn difference. The only thing that I can notice is that when I go to zoom in, obviously the detail on the 11 Pro Max pictures are better because better camera, better light, better lens, and the thing. But other than that, if you don't zoom in, you wouldn't know which one is which.
Right. And so I did a little bit of research on this because there was some question as to whether or not the SE was using the iPhone 8 optics or if it was something different or whatever. I guess iFixit has now determined that you can use the iPhone 8 optics inside of the phone, which makes sense. But one thing people don't realize is the reason they make these phones look like old phones and can make them so cheap is partially because they've got the dies cut for these things. They've got the process for manufacture. They don't have to retool anything.
Right.
They just have to put the new guts inside, and then it goes. And that's part of the way that they find that extra savings for the customer. It's just Apple never gave the customer that savings before, right? So this article that I read is on Forbes, so take it with a grain of salt. From Paul Monkton. I don't know, Paul Monkton.
Forbes?
Yeah, senior contributor Paul Monkton. I'll share the screen here.
Ooh, we're sharing screen.
Yeah. So anyway, here it is. And for some reason, my friggin' thing blinks like that. Sorry. New iPhone SE2 reports cause serious questions to be asked. Now,
what?
Paul, if you are a senior contributor in the consumer tech department over there at Forbes to be asked? What the hell is wrong with you?
It's Forbes. This is what they do.
I mean, at least write a good freaking headline. Anyway,
They're allergic to good headlines.
well, I mean, cause serious. It's passive voice. Just kind of.
What?
It's passive voice. It makes me really angry. So okay, that was my other life. So that's still my life. Basically what he's saying is he's making the point that the iPhone SE could have night vision, night camera, and could have deep fusion. At least this is what he is assuming. Because it has the A13. Now, I don't know enough about what parts of the camera apparatus, the night mode and the deep fusion stuff. I don't know what parts they use. So if it's not, is it just a pro model thing, or because they have more lenses? I don't know. Anyway, what he's saying is the camera's great. It could be greater. It doesn't have the focus pixels. I don't know. To me, this new iPhone SE reports cause serious questions to be asked. No, they don't. Because was anybody expecting deep fusion and night mode from a $400 fucking phone?
No. At the end of the day, people are going to walk into a carrier store, then they're going to go, "What's the latest iPhone?" Boom.
Yeah.
In fact, have you guys
$400? Okay.
And in fact, I know that nobody's seen the displays yet, but I've seen what the new displays are going to look like when retail opens up. When you walk into like a Verizon or AT&T or a Bell or Rogers, it focuses on the SE, and then here's our Pro stuff down the line. Apple, at the end of the day, Apple doesn't care what iPhone you have in your pocket, as long as it's an iPhone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Explain why that is to the people.
Services.
Exactly.
Services is where the money is at. Those apps, right?
For the people in the back, in case you didn't hear him, he said services. The hardware.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. The hardware doesn't matter. Apple will take the loss on the hardware if that means they can get you into that ecosystem. If they can get you to sign up for Apple Music, iCloud, Apple News, Apple TV Plus, all of it. They don't care.
Using this form factor, or basically the iPhone 8, and then just kind of retooling like where the Apple's on the back and cleaning it up right like that. Apple didn't have to remanufacture or make new equipment to make things. Right. So this is, we don't know what the breakdown will be. I'm sure we'll get something from iFixit soon, telling us what the breakdown is in terms of cost or thing. But these devices, I imagine Apple's not making a huge profit margin on it, but again, it comes back down to services, and as long as you've got an Apple in your pocket, they're happy.
So part of it is that Apple realized, like, Apple's sales have been declining over the last several years. Sales of iPhones have been declining over the last several years. They've been making more money because the phones are getting more expensive, but they realized that they've gone over that hump to where, it's no longer like the hardware is not the draw. Mm-hmm. People are going to, so this $400 iPhone is perfect because it gets them into the App Store. It gets them into Apple Music, as we've said. It gets them into, Apple TV Plus or whatever.
Podcasts
and all those things. Every dollar that goes through the App Store, a chunk of that dollar is taken away by Apple.
No, Jason, let's be more precise. You say a chunk. Let's call it what it is. 30%.
Okay. That's a chunk.
Yes, exactly.
That's a chunk.
That's a serious chunk.
I know. That's like if I lost 30% of my body, I'd be hurting.
I wouldn't mind losing 30%.
Yeah, me neither, actually. That's a good
Although point. I weighed myself today and I was impressed. I thought I gained weight since this whole thing happened, but I've actually lost weight.
But let's repeat what Jason just said. Anytime you buy an app out of the App Store and Apple and the app developer makes revenue, Apple gets 30% of that revenue. So if they can sell a ton of iPhone SEs and people are in the App Store buying apps, every app transaction, well, almost every app transaction, Apple takes 30% off the top. Come on now. Whew.
Does Apple get 30% of the ad revenue that free apps make? Because that's how free apps
No.
themselves, right?
Right.
But they still have to pay for a parking spot.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Apple's making money if it's a free app, if it's anything. It doesn't matter. Apple's still making some money. Now, I think this is a great phone, and we talked about this a little bit last week, and I'm going to talk about it in my full review. This is a fantastic phone. The Achilles heel of this phone, as we've said, is going to be the battery.
Yep.
It's going to be the battery, but as we've also said, it's probably no worse than it was when you were just getting the iPhone 8, right? Yep. So Apple spoiled us last year with the XR and with the Plus models. And then this year with all of the 11 Pro models and the 11, I mean, the battery life is just insane. Never had anything that good on a friggin' phone ever. So now going back to a phone that's only going to get 4 hours of screen on time, you're like, oh my God, it's like, I got battery anxiety again. You know?
The only thing great about the battery is that this phone does support fast charge, so you can charge up 50% in half an hour. So it does support that.
As long as you have to use what 10 watt or higher,
right? Right.
Yeah. So Sarni, a lot of people bring this up. I don't know the Pixel Peepers, what the Pixel Peepers are on about.
We had the conversation a year ago or 2 years ago. It doesn't matter, people. It doesn't matter.
You're going to tell me, okay, that this screen at 720p is somehow inferior to your eyeballs. It's impossible.
I mean, if you're going from looking at your Note 10 Plus to that, yeah, you're gonna see a difference. But if you're using that device, the SE or the 7 for an extended period, or it's your main device, you're not gonna notice it.
Where did he come from? Where did he get this stuff, man? I don't understand this dude.
I really think, okay, so somebody mentioned in a comment on my video today that at least the 7 Plus has a 1080p screen. The only reason the Plus has a 1080p screen is because the screen is bigger, so there are more pixels per inch. Okay, pixels per inch is all relative to the size of the screen. Okay, you can't see 4K on a 4.7 inch screen. I don't care who you are. You can't see 1080p versus 720. I don't care who you are. It's impossible.
Actually, Jason, the bigger the screen, usually the less pixel per inch.
Well, but that's how it works on the Retina displays. On the Retina displays, it was always the Plus models had more pixels per inch. That's why they were 1080p, while the smaller models were, I think, actually like 6 something.
And for the people that care about pixel per inch and everything, this phone's not for you. I mean, you just kind of answered your own question, right? Right?
Say it again, Zach. Say it again.
This phone's not for you, and also,
whoa! Oh my goodness! Oh!
Well, and that's the thing. Like, so this phone is I try and think of this phone outside of the context of what is interesting to me. Like, what I wouldn't be upset having to carry this phone. It feels good. It works well. It does the things.
Listen, if I had to use this phone full time, could I use it? Of course, I've done it before. I mean, I've done it years ago. It's not a big deal. I couldn't do it now because I have other options, and they're obviously I like bigger phones. But this is definitely something I can use full time if I absolutely had to. But again, if you are watching this live stream right now, guess what? This phone is probably not for you. That's simple.
Yeah, I mean, so Alan always gives us good material on these shows, and he says the SE is a great phone, but the S20 Ultra is just okay.
Who said that?
I did. I mean, I think that's. I basically said that, and I think it's true.
I bet you the autofocus works on the iPhone.
Oh, it surely does. It really does. And you know why the SE is a great phone and the S20 Ultra is only okay? Price to performance.
Yep. There you go.
What you're getting for what you're paying for. You're not getting $1,400 worth of awesome.
Oh,
You're not getting $1,400 worth of awesome.
oh Lord.
But you are getting $400 worth of awesome.
Oh.
So
I'll tell you this: I would trust the SE over the Ultra to take photos of my kids every day and making sure they're clear. You know, I would 100% would. 100% would.
Oh Lord, I can't argue. Listen, man.
Yeah.
I got the iPhone SE, I got the 11 Pro Max, and I got the S20 Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
The S20 Ultra is the phone that I use mostly on a daily basis because of the features and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't argue anything you or Jason are saying. I can't argue. If you're going to take a picture, this is probably not the phone you want to use to take a picture, especially if you got a point and shoot immediately. This is probably not the phone. The autofocus is too trash. On any iPhone, all you got to do is point, shoot, bam, you're good to go. I mean, It's just that simple. But y'all are savage tonight. Damn. Woo.
Did we lose Jason?
I don't think so.
He's turned into a circle.
right here.
There he is.
My daughter couldn't find her phone.
Oh.
So she's like, did you take my, no, I didn't touch your phone.
Get her an Apple Watch, and then she could ping it.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's always like, can I use your phone to find my iPhone?
Yeah.
Anyway, I love her. She's great. But the camera thing is spot on. Now you might be able to do more with the camera. You might be able to, fiddle with settings all you want. You might have a food setting. You might have every setting that you could possibly ever want. And that's all great. But I'll tell you what, grabbing an iPhone, opening the app, even without touching on what you want to focus on, right? Because you're supposed to touch, right? On what you want to focus on. Even not doing that and just hitting the shutter button,
bam.
9 times out of 10, you get a usable photo.
It's automatic.
Most people, exactly. They just they unlock their phone, they push that camera button, then they take the picture.
Right.
I don't personally know a lot of people that know that they can touch to focus. Do you know what I mean? Unless they are big into taking tons of photos. But like I'll use my sister for example, who has everything Apple and everything, and she just opens the thing and takes the picture.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and so Piscean Xenos Infopinion. I've seen this person in the stream all the time. I've never said the whole name. Anyway, the Ultra has 4K, it has 8K, it has HDR10. You're telling me, okay, the only company that sells an 8K TV is Samsung. And last year their lowest end 8K model cost $9,000. You're telling me that you're going to take the 8K footage from your smartphone and then pixel peep it on your $9,000 TV.
You're going to have to excuse that, dude. That man is a hardcore Samsung Knight. You got to excuse him.
So,
oh, no. The Knights are here. The Knights are here.
4K, 8K, all that stuff is great. But I guarantee you, when you think you're watching 4K, you're not. When you're watching cable or direct TV or any of that stuff, you know what you're seeing? 720p. You're seeing 720p. Okay? Netflix streams some higher level stuff, but the majority of the time, the stuff that you're watching, 720p.
Oh, Jason hurt him with the truth. The truth hurt.
So,
I bet your comment section is gonna just blow up tonight.
Ooh, boy, let's go.
We should do Hell for Review tonight.
You know what? I've been going to my Hell for Reviews, and it says that I have stuff in there, but then I can't see any of it. It won't let me see it. Weird. It must know that I'm so emotionally unstable. I can't handle it.
I don't know who unleashed Stabbing Jason tonight, but thank you very much. I appreciate you. Isn't the content that people pay to see tonight? I want to talk about.
Yeah. Speaking of paying, where's the super chats?
They were here earlier. I don't know what happened. They ran away. Ooh.
I mean, I have an LG C9. Well, I got it for less than $2,000, but it's like, when it was released was like a $2,900 TV, right? That TV makes 720p look better, but it's still 720p.
Mm-hmm. So
Right?
Jason, yep, true story. So I heard something on Twitter that I guess there are tech reviewers out there saying that this iPhone SE only has a single speaker. That's not true.
No, it's not.
It has dual front firing speaker. People.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
It's got the speaker down here, and then the earpiece is also the speaker.
Correct.
So it's not balanced. It's not, the stereo field is not balanced, man.
Well, still, there's stereo speakers, and there are two of them on the front.
Nice.
You think you put a comment for review?
I am reviewing the comment now. Thank you, Tech Odyssey.
Tech Odyssey, by the way, Tech Odyssey, good guy.
Yeah.
We hung out at CES. Check out his channel. He's been killing it lately.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
So
and not only does the phone have dual front speakers, they are damn good. Oh my lord!
You know, that's the thing. I don't know when it started to matter that your phone sounded good or your laptop sounded good. I mean, that's not. Maybe it's just me. But I would never rely on like hi-fi sound from a phone. I don't care what phone it is. The speakers are just they're there. It's a utility. You know, I'm watching YouTube in bed at night and I'm listening to the speakers. But if I'm listening to anything else, I'm listening to it through something else besides the phone speakers.
I'm currently reviewing a tablet. It goes for about 150 on Amazon. It's an Android tablet, and the speakers are so bad. They're so tinny compared to like an iPhone or even a Galaxy or whatever like that. But it's kind of jarring. You get this 12-inch, 13-inch tablet, and you think they would have great speakers because it's like the size and how heavy it is. Man, do they suck? I mean, I put that in my review. I can't. I can't
see,
wait
Jason.
to review.
The thing is that our smartphones are so powerful and they are mostly media consumption devices. So given how good our smartphones have gotten over the past decade and that we use them a lot for consumer media, they have to have decent speakers. I mean, if a smartphone has a terrible speaker today, you will notice it. It won't take long.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I will say that, listening to the speakers on the iPhone, I don't know why I keep bringing these phones up here, but the iPhone 7 Plus.
Because you have it's proof, baby. It's proof of life.
So speakers on the iPhone 7 Plus, not as good as the speakers on the SE.
I could believe it. Yep.
SE's speakers more balanced. I think this was the first year that the iPhone had that dual speaker in the earpiece.
Yes.
So it's not, like the stereo field is a little off balance.
But this is the
Hey,
truth.
Boogie, thank you for the $5 super chat, by the way.
These speakers on here are the truth.
Yeah. So I mean, it benefits from being newer in that sense.
Zach, what is the update on your SE? When is it coming?
If I refresh this, still out for delivery in Anchorage, Alaska. I mean, that's a hell of a drive.
You know what's been weird? So I've been ordering stuff from Amazon, and at first, like all the shipping was messed up. But now I'm like ordering things, and it says it's going to come. Like, so I had things that were supposed to come tomorrow, and they came today. And it's been happening that way over the past couple of weeks. So
they're like catching up kind of thing. Like this is direct from Apple.
Yeah,
that's my SD. Yeah,
so ultimately, I think the reason that I titled this podcast, what's the right iPhone for you? What iPhone should you buy? I wanted to get across the point that there's more to think about than just the current models. You can get a lot of value and several more years of life out of phones that 9 people out of 10 are not going to notice the difference.
Well, look at the secondary market, for example. If you go and put your iPhone on Craigslist or whatever local seller, like up here in Canada, we have a thing called Kijiji. Yep. iPhones are on there all the time. People are always looking for like unlocked iPhones because they may have broken theirs. One might got stolen, but they don't care as long as it's an iPhone, right? So there's always been a craving or a market for like secondary, quote unquote, used, slightly loved, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, nearly new. My grandmother used to say.
There you go, nearly new. Yeah.
So I put a video on Twitter earlier today of me using the front camera of the iPhone SE, and most people say it looked good. But what you all need to remember is that Twitter compresses video like a mofo. So the video on Twitter does not look nearly as good as it actually will straight off the phone. So
yeah,
if you guys saw that video, just remember that.
Same thing with video. Same thing with photos. When people are showing photo comparisons on Twitter, it can be hard to see because Twitter compression. If you really want to see a difference, Instagram's where it's at, right? Or obviously when we publish our videos, we show side by side, right? So Twitter compression is a real thing.
YouTube, Twitter compression is the worst, but YouTube, Instagram, they all have compression algorithms.
Yeah.
So you're not seeing what the person who took the picture saw on their screen when they took it, right? So Brian says the SE is boring and he would never buy one.
Again, it's not for you.
Probably not the phone you should buy then.
I don't know how many languages I need to explain this in, but if you are watching this live stream, if you are watching us, the iPhone SE, 90% of it, there's a 90% possibility. Actually, it's a 95% possibility if you're watching this live stream, the iPhone SE 2020 is not for you.
Hey, it's that CJ Knows Tech guy.
Yeah, CJ in the house.
CJ, will you tell them if they're watching this live stream, CJ, let them know the iPhone is not for them. The SE is not for them.
No.
I like CJ.
I mean, but the thing is, and I'm going to say this, I'm still going to say that anybody in this live stream could use and enjoy the SE.
Yeah.
This is in no way an inferior experience to any other current iPhone.
No, the only negative is the battery.
Compromises that have been made, but those compromises are in places that don't impact the experience. Right?
Can we highlight TJ's new comment?
Yeah. The SD is not for technology snobs. Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Oh, he's here.
Oh, look who we got here.
He's always there. I swear he's always there.
He's always there. He's waiting for somebody to say his name.
Yeah.
He's waiting for somebody to say his name. That's what he's doing.
He's Jeff Pugh. Jeff Pugh.
But yeah, the SE is probably it's probably the perfect iPhone. Probably the perfect iPhone. And why is it the perfect iPhone? Because the most people can buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that's what matters, right?
Especially the Apple,
The end of the day, like we talked about before, Apple saw the writing on the wall. They saw the sales of the iPhone going down every year. They started to backfill their lineup with cheaper phones. And now, the SE 2020 was a pure straight up mic drop from Apple. They were like, oh, you're going to make a plastic $400 phone? Well, here's a flagship $400 phone.
How do we do a mic drop with there?
I mean, I have to be holding it.
Sorry. If you're wearing headphones.
Yeah, that's.
I bought a microphone.
Anybody understand this?
What?
Okay, he says technology snobs have changed or has changed. I disagree. I think the phone has become less in that form, and people carry more tech outside of the phone. Dedicated. Oh my God, no. bruh, you are the very definition of a technology snob, and the iPhone SE is not for you.
Go in Best Buy,
not for you,
and look at the point and shoot camera aisle. It's like a cemetery. It's a cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is buying that stuff. Nobody's buying that stuff. There was a brief period in time Canon was making some good point and shoots. Sony was making some good point and shoots. Now it's either you go mirrorless or you go with your phone. And that's it. That's it. So the smartphone has democratized the ability for, any kind of content creation, any kind of connectivity, any kind of anything. The smartphone has made it so that nearly anyone on the earth can be connected.
Oh my God.
Right?
This dude, what? I feel like I'm talking to myself tonight. This dude Gordy's like, why would anybody buy a phone with a 326 PPI? Did you not listen to Jason earlier? Did he not tell you that everything that you're watching is in 720p if you're watching on a smartphone?
It doesn't matter.
The carriers cap it off at 720p. It doesn't matter how big how much your screen resolution is on your phone. The carrier cap everything at 720p. It doesn't matter.
If you're on a Verizon unlimited plan,
oh my god!
If you pay for like one of the cheaper plans, you're at 480.
Yes,
you're at 480. Okay, so please, I mean, over Wi-Fi maybe you get better, but still, if you want a beautiful, brilliant picture that you can really appreciate, go buy a TV and spend the money on all the equipment that you need to be able to do that, because it's not happening on your phone.
I think you need to highlight Genos' comment.
It doesn't matter what your PPI is. I love TJ Don't Take. TJ Don't Take. That's my dad. I love you, TJ.
Don't talk about my PP.
Nobody cares about your PPI.
Oh Lord, this is too much.
There's a PewDiePie joke in here somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
DJ, man, I wish they were relaxed. I wish the technology snob were relaxed, bro. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I've had this epiphany.
Oh.
Everybody wants to complain about something. Everybody, it's like high school. Being in the tech world is like being in high school. Everybody's got to tell stories on everybody else. Everybody's got to have the drama. We got to have the drama, right? We got to get the drama going.
Drama.
So we make up drama. You know, if they didn't publish the specs of these phones, if they just said, here's a phone, you would never be like, oh man, I can't take it. I can't take it. It's not 4K.
I don't know why people complain about stuff they know they're not going to buy. Like if you have this much dislike for the SE, you know you're not going to buy it. Why do you care?
Do you guys remember when Jonathan Morrison did that screen?
Yeah.
With the Poco phone.
With the Poco phone, and it was like, I think the other one was the other one an iPhone? I can't remember.
It was the XR.
iPhone and Pixel, I think.
And yeah, so people, he just had people, point at which screen do you think is better, and the majority picked the Poco. Mm-hmm. I can't wait for someone else to do that video when we can get around people again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. For everybody who wants to complain about the iPhone SE and how it's underwhelming and blah, 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 try this. Talk about who it's for and how much of a boon it is to the people who never could have a phone with this.
Yeah.
Who never could afford to have an iPhone. People used to, it's like you can't do, you get hit coming both ways.
The people that Apple's
too expensive. Yeah. And they're elitist and they're blah, blah, blah. So they release a $400 phone and everybody complains that it's a potato.
The people that Apple is catering for are not the people that are buying an iPhone 11 Pro or Pro Max. Mm. They're the people that are buying maybe last year's model, this model. They're not us. They're not the people listening to this podcast. They're not the people in the chat. They're not tech enthusiasts, people we talk to on Twitter, etc. Because we're not the controlling group that Apple looks at the end of the day when they look at their numbers. And if you don't believe me, walk into any Apple store and just look around at the people.
Yeah. I mean, Apple doesn't have tech enthusiast hangouts at the Apple store. They give classes on how to use their stuff because most people can't figure it out.
Go to the Apple store when they're doing one of those,
yeah,
and you'll see the range of people that are there learning about the basic, AirDrop, iMess, whatever, right? They're not tech enthusiasts. They're the everyday, those people that you see in those classes, those are the controlling group that Apple looks at the end of the day and going, who's spending money on our stuff?
Yeah.
Right. And then Apple looks outside that and goes, okay, what group are we not getting? Here's the SE. Yeah. That's it. That's as simple as it is.
And I feel bad. Like one of the comments that I've gotten a lot as I've been talking about the SE over the past few weeks, one of the comments I've been getting a lot is from people in different countries where the SE is still pretty expensive for them, which
doesn't that come down to like carrier support?
I don't know how it works. But I do know that the prices vary pretty drastically, more so than I remember other iPhones being in terms of their price differences. But I mean, iPhones have always been expensive. There was a time when having an iPhone was a flex.
It still is.
And for a lot of people, it still is. But for the majority of people who use iPhones, it is their phone.
Yep.
Right? So Apple realizes that the people who are buying the Samsung A50s, right? The people who are buying the Pixel 3a, these people are in part making that choice based on price range. What can they get that's the best in that price range? Apple now seems to have a dog in that fight.
And the funny thing is, this started a few years ago with the whole onslaught of the mid-range devices. But given what's currently happening in the world, it's about to blow up this year.
Yep.
Especially with Apple coming in with this iPhone SE. Google was expected with the Pixel 4a at any point. TCL is hitting the market with $500 phones. I mean, this mid-range area is about to boom.
I mean, I thought I did a stream back in January, just after, or maybe I was during CES, about how I thought that the battleground this year for your dollar is going to be the mid range. Did I know that this whole pandemic thing was going to happen? No, but it was just obvious by the moves that people were making with the rumors of the SE, and then we saw what TCL brought out, for example, and then we saw, a real big emphasis on the A51 or whatever it's called from Sam. You know what I mean? Right. So we talked about this last week. I think we're going to see a bigger shift from Samsung going into the rest of the year, of Samsung making a bigger deal and more marketing on their mid-range devices. They've always done well with their mid-range devices for people that go into a carrier store, but are they as known? No.
I mean,
I can't
there
stop laughing at
can't
PJ.
be a worse time for Samsung to have the most expensive phones they've ever had.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There can't be a worse time for OnePlus to decide to go to $900.
Ooh,
Yeah.
bloodbath. It's gonna be a
Can't be a
bloodbath.
worse time.
You got to wonder if the 8T models, if they're going to dial it back in.
Now, Jason, you know what this is the equivalent to, right? Well, what Samsung and OnePlus just did this year, you know what it's the equivalent to?
Tell me.
A smartphone red wedding.
Nice. Game of Thrones reference.
Yeah, it's not a bad point.
It's a bloody dude.
I mean, basically, one of the things about business. Now, Samsung is like its own planet, so Samsung's not going to go under if their phone doesn't do well.
Oh, right.
But one of the things about business is part of it is being able to anticipate and, sort of forecasting that stuff out and being able, like, who would have thought that Apple could pivot to a $400 phone?
I mean, if you told me that 2 years ago they were going to do that, I would have called you a liar. Yeah.
So they do it, and now they look like freaking geniuses because they did it, right? Now I tell you what, a lot of people are hurting, a lot of things are going on. It's going to be a long haul to get back out. A $400 phone of any kind is going to be a lot more attractive to a lot more people. $400 iPhone is
mic drop.
game over.
Boom. Game over.
And then if you go to a carrier, depending on the carrier, you might, if you sign a 2-year agreement or whatever they call it, or a tab or whatever kind of program, you might end up walking out of the store with that device for free.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's carrier agreements up here with. I talked about this last week with Rogers, where if you get the SE and you sign a 2-year agreement, you get it for free plus like a $50 or $100 bill credit.
Right,
like, that's huge.
So Brian Harkin here says spare part $400 phone. Doesn't really matter when the parts that are in the $400 phone are better than most any other phone out there. Does it matter if those parts?
Say it again.
I mean, so A13 chip, faster than anything that's on the market, right? All of the stuff that goes into an iPhone creates a 10 times better experience than 90% of all of the Android phones. And I can say that from experience.
Woo! We should just end the podcast right there. Just drop the mic and get the hell out, bro. Oh my goodness, damn.
I mean, when you're spare, like if your leftovers are caviar, you're still eating good, right?
I need all of y'all in the live stream tonight to come back next week because this is like the best I've ever seen Jason. This shit is gold.
I think by now we're just trolling back and forth, which is it's just fucking awesome right now. There's 165 trolls in here right now, and we're having a good time.
I am loving it.
Yeah,
this is awesome content.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. No, I mean,
oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you. Caviar is gross. I'm gonna go with you on that.
Yeah, this is salty.
Is it my opinion though? Alan says that's like your opinion, man.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Is it? Is it though? Really? Is it? I mean, haven't we established a baseline to say that, so the overall experience of using an iPhone, it has a better chance for most people to have a better experience? Can't we stipulate that? Is it not understood?
I mean, I see people in the chat talking about the SE battery. We've already highlighted that the battery is trash. We're not hiding that.
Yeah.
It's a compromise. It's a compromise to get to a $400 phone. And it's only a big deal because the iPhones that came out last year just absolutely crushed every other phone on the market with battery life.
Yep.
Absolutely crushed every other phone.
Mm-hmm.
The iPhone 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, the iPhone 11 stomp all over every other phone's battery. Period.
Again and again and again and again.
So, Rashid.
Hey, here you go, Rashid.
Right, Rashid. The SE is not for us.
Excellent super chat. Excellent.
Thank you very much for that super chat. I will say
science.
that if you're a person who, yes, you're not the target market for this phone, but if you can't appreciate what this phone is and what it offers to the people who it is made for, if you can't appreciate that, then what are you doing? What are you doing?
I think it's really telling with some of the people that don't kind of get it today in the chat. It's really telling. It's really easy to see which one of you identify through your purchases and what technology you have, which kind of make you really sad. Am I wrong, Jason?
Oh Lord!
I don't mean to be mean, but like, holy cow!
No! You went beyond me. You went savage. Come on now.
I mean, I don't mean to be mean. Well, maybe I do.
Here's the thing. I mean, the underdeveloped personality will lean on things like material possessions to define themselves.
The underdeveloped personality.
Wait. Did you just politically correctly just roast the money? Oh my God! I can't do.
It's true. It's true. I mean, it's all of us do it to a certain.
Oh Lord!
All of us do it to a certain extent, right?
Mm.
But the people who really put a lot of stock in what they own and take a lot of their own personal worth from that, that's a house of cards, man.
These are the same people that are like the camera module is ugly on the back of the phone. I'm not going to use that phone because it's ugly. No one cares about your camera.
I have complained about that. I have complained about that.
Yeah. That's a preference thing, but for you to think that other people care, like if you hang out with those kind of people, holy shallow.
I need to go back and rewatch the podcast. This podcast been going for the ages.
60. You're watching me do my job right now, man. You're watching me do my job. This is what I do. Okay? I'm a 48-year-old full-time YouTuber. I'm not going to the Apple store for an interview. I mean,
and they're all closed right now.
Yeah, they are.
Use your freaking head here. Come on.
Woo! So, it's cool. And yes, Travis MCP is savage. But sometimes, especially when I get a nap in the afternoon on podcast day,
bruh,
I can just
call him painfully honest savage tonight.
Woo! Here's the thing. I have ceased to give fucks. I have ceased to give fucks about any of the drama or any of the bullshit that goes along with any of this stuff. And maybe that's maybe my channel won't do so well if I'm not about the drama. But who the fuck cares?
All right, time out. So Alan Mobley again, he's at it again. I actually do appreciate the phone, but I'm not going to overstate how good it is just because of the logo. I have never overstated how good the Pixel is. You're not going to overstate how good it is because of the logo. Did Jason not earlier just say that the internals of the iPhone SE trounced every Android phone on the market?
I did.
He did say that, right? I know. I heard him. I heard what he said. He said the internals of the iPhone SE trounced all the competition. We are talking about a budget iPhone that runs laps around your Galaxy S20 Ultra. But you're not going to overstate how good the phone is? Bruh. I can't deal.
Still, I mean, now people are just repeating themselves. It's like last year's leftovers. You know what? Again, like if I'm eating steak one night and then I have some left over and I eat some more steak the next night, it's still steak. It's still steak. Still tastes good. All you know what? So when you're working with a higher quality material, it doesn't matter if it's last year's stuff. I mean, what Apple's done with this phone is taken stuff that they don't have to retool any factory stuff. They don't have to do anything. They just have to make an iPhone 8 with an A13 chip in it. That's all they got to do.
Boom.
That's all they got to do. And if you can do that and you can sell it for $400,
okay, so I'm just now hearing of this device. I don't know what it is. Do you or Jason, Zach, do y'all know what the hell the LG Velvet is? What is this?
It is LG's next. Well, I don't know. It's going to be sort of a mid-ranger, but it's what's replacing the G series.
Yeah.
And the V series.
Yeah.
Wait, it's replacing the G and the V?
From what I read, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, there's still a lot of speculation on that, but that sounds like what they're trying to do. So
I think LG has capitulated. I think
LG needs to embrace the mid-range market because they do it really well. They do.
See, I eat leftover steak all the time. Who says we think don't get food poisoning from eating leftover steak? What are you talking about? I don't know. I'm a hillbilly, so what the hell?
Oh, we got Savage himself. We got John Prosser being Savage in the chat. Yes. Yes.
This podcast is just wow.
So for those of you who are listening, John Prosser from Page Tech says in the chat, last year's leftovers in quotation marks says the person running an Android phone that just uses a leftover Qualcomm chip that literally every other Android phone that year uses. That is so true.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh my.
Sorry.
It is absolutely true. I mean, Android phones, and again, I use Android phones. I like Android phones. However, they are compromised in so many ways. They're compromised by like basically Qualcomm makes what they make, and Android has to take it, right? Apple makes their own chips and wipes the floor with Qualcomm, right?
So this dude fast attack says if the A13 is so powerful, why does the tech crash the phone? That has nothing to do with the A13. That's iOS code being vulnerable.
Oh, you're talking about the new vulnerability apparently.
Yeah, that's a code vulnerability. That's not a chip thing, dude.
That's just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're talking about software, man.
Right, and it'll be patched in short order, so it won't be vulnerable for much longer.
All right. Bonus points to anybody who knows what I was just referring to. Talking about software.
Oh, you know
I don't. Whoosh
oh my lord! I'm actually shocked. I didn't know Jason watched sports like that. Oh, okay.
I know my sports.
Okay.
Sports. Mr. Iverson.
Yeah.
Could have been a spokesperson for Apple.
All right, I got it now.
Yeah. Man, I've been watching the Jordan documentary, by the way.
I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't watched 3 and 4. I saw 1 and 2.
I watched 3 and 4 last night.
Let me ask you this: like, I don't traditionally watch basketball. In fact, I've only watched maybe a handful of basketball games in my life, and I've only ever gone to a couple. Would I still enjoy this documentary?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the stories of the people, the story of the overarching the overarching story of how the Bulls became the Bulls, and then like how the Bulls ended is really, I think, for anybody still really interesting.
I can't properly answer this because I'm hella biased because I grew up watching this team, so I can't really answer this. But Jay, like Jason said, the story alone is like fascinating.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, in some ways, it's just like Tiger King, because you're never going to see anything like Michael Jordan ever again.
You did not just compare the Bulls documentary to Tiger King.
That bitch Carol Baskin.
Oh Lord. Oh my God.
It is though. It is.
Oh, boy.
I mean, you can't turn away from the story. You can't watch Michael Jordan do what he did over those years and not be like totally flabbergasted. Right? I mean, I don't like the NBA as much as I like college basketball, but there are some people in the NBA who, I mean, you just watch it and you're like, that is not a human being. I remember I went to a Knicks game. And my buddy worked for a venture capital firm, and they had seats behind the bench. So they were playing Toronto Raptors when they had Vince Carter. And you watch the basketball on the TV and you're like, oh, okay. You watch the basketball like from 10 feet away. Those people are not human. Vince Carter like basically didn't walk on the ground. He just floated around. It was really something to see. I've been to a lot of college basketball games. I've been to a lot of other sports, but man.
Hey, Jason, do you remember the time in the Olympics where Vince Carter dunked on that French dude's head?
I do. Vince Carter, man, one of the real, I won't say a tragedy because he had a good career, but man, that guy had talent. That guy was electric, and got hurt.
It's kind of sad that his career pretty much came to an end this year because of the shortened season because of the pandemic. So
yeah. But I mean, think about guys like him. Think about guys like Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose is the real sad story. Holy Lord, wow.
And so it makes you appreciate something like the kind of thing that the Bulls were able to accomplish. Like they're one like knee blowout by Michael Jordan from never being that.
Yep.
But somehow it worked.
Actually, the funny thing about that, as you know, Jason, Jordan broke his ankle, I think back in 85. So Jordan had to sit out a year, but like you said, fortunately, that was before he kind of blew up and became Michael Jordan. So
right. Yeah. And they made him like do the rehab, even though he didn't do it. He went back to North Carolina and just kept playing basketball. But still,
that documentary is on Netflix right now, right?
I think it's on Netflix for you. It's on ESPN Plus for us.
Okay, yeah, Netflix up here in Canada is a little bit different, but there's something else on Netflix you guys should check out.
What's that?
The Chris Hemsworth movie, Extraction.
Oh,
I just watched that last night.
I have been hearing.
That is wild. There's this sequence in the movie. I think it's like 10 or 12 minutes long, where it's like a continuous shot, or at least if you know where the cuts are, it can be obvious, but it's a full sequence from like a car chase to on a rooftop to back down on the ground and hand combat, and this it's intense for I think it's for 12 minutes. It's intense.
I've heard nothing but good things about the movie. I need to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, the story, it tries to be it tries to hit all points. It doesn't fall flat, I would say. And it leaves it open for you to decide whether there should be a sequel or not. I'll leave it like that. But I thought it was really good. It was really entertaining. That 12-minute sequence, I had to go back and watch a couple more times. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I will agree that like from the standpoint of the action, the filmmaking, like that was some of the most intense action that you're going to see. That I think it falls down a little bit on the story, but then again, do you watch those movies for the story? No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
So it It was fun to watch.
I mean, if you like Commando, for example, remember Commando? You'll like this. Although I'll say the story is a lot better, and this movie is definitely better acted than Commando. But if you like that, one guy takes on everybody, but he definitely has flaws.
Yeah.
And it's definitely more from a realistic standpoint. You'll like this. And also why one gripe I have with the movie, the only gripe I really have with the movie is what's up with movies that are set in like India or Bangladesh or wherever it is, and they always use like this yellow type filter over everything. It's always got this kind of gritty look and everything, which I guess helps the movie. But I just thought it was kind of weird.
I think maybe it's trying to like I'm only guessing heavy pollution in those areas. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's that. But Fast Attack Tough 688I says I wouldn't do a fair comparison on the Pixel Buds 2.
Comparison to what?
Why wouldn't he? He's an audio dude. I'm pretty sure he would.
Yeah, I mean, if they're shit, they're shit.
And if they're good, he'll let you know they're good.
Yeah. That's the long and short of it. One of the best pair of headphones one of the best pair of wireless headphones that I have right now costs $40. Soundcore Q10. Go check it out on the Amazon.
Oh yeah, well, Hefe been raving about them. Yeah,
they sound great. The Q20s, the noise canceling version, they're amazing too. And they're $50-$60. So I do my job.
Tell him.
I do what I say I'm going to do. You don't have to like it.
What's the name of the channel, Jason?
Painfully Honest Tech.
Woo!
It's not I'm going to say the thing you want to hear tech. It's
there's
what
there's other channels that do that.
Like, oh, it's your opinion. Yeah, it is my opinion. You know, anybody who's not giving you an opinion on something, like how are you going to use that to help yourself make a buying choice?
People are very fragile. So, like I told you guys at the very beginning of the podcast, I did the same thing that Lou did this week. I made a video highlighting the flaws of the iPhone SE. Then I made a video talking about all the positives. I went back and looked at my analytics on YouTube as far as subscriber growth and things like that. I lost 2 subscribers on the video talking about the iPhone SE flaws and things like that. I gained 4 subscribers on the why you should upgrade to the iPhone SE. So some of y'all like soft as hell. Y'all can't handle the truth. And it shows in the analytics and just the response to these videos in general.
Man, I went through a period where I was losing, like one day I'd lose 30 subscribers. The next day I'd get like 35. And it is what it is. I mean, to everything there is a season. And at this, basically, what I'm doing right now is I'm asking and answering questions that I think are interesting and important to me, that I think are interesting and important to the folks who are going to want to watch my videos. And, you know, I'm surprised Alan even said here, Alan said that the Pixel Buds 1 were, right here. They were terrible. He's cautiously optimistic about the Pixel Buds 2. And that would, based on what I've heard from other people who have the Pixel Buds 2, who generally I use to sort of triangulate whether or not something's good if I don't have it myself. I mean, Michael Fisher has a good ear. He likes them. I'll give them a fair shot. Somebody wants to send me a pair, I'll give them a fair shot. If I come across a pair, fine.
So a lot of you all in the chat are saying that if the SE screen was bigger, then it'll be more desirable. Well, according to our buddy John Prosser, that is exactly what's going to happen next year. Apparently Apple has planned for a bigger SE Plus coming next year, so be on the lookout.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I said when I was talking about the 7 Plus, and I guess the 8 Plus as well. If you want the bigger screen and you want some better battery life, then having one of the older Plus models is a better buy than the SE. You can get this phone for $250, right? So if the phone that you want isn't out there right now, but something like it has been made before. That might be what you need. So I haven't heard about the Galaxy Idea 2 2020 getting blood pressure monitoring. I mean, that's a cool feature. So
please, for the love of God, don't try to compare any Android watch to Apple Watch. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Asarni is he's just trolling now.
He's just, how many souls we still have in here? 162.
63 good 63. People still in here.
I think the people appreciate the savagery tonight. I mean, I do too.
Well, sometimes I ate my Wheaties today. Actually, I didn't. I had Honey Nut Cheerios for lunch, and I had frosted mini wheats for dinner.
I had tacos for breakfast
and some fruit. I hadn't had fruit for I don't know. I'm about to get scurvy.
Hey, Jason, I don't know if I've asked you this before or not, but you are sitting in a Secret Lab chair. How do you like that chair?
Love this chair. And Secret Labs actually used my unboxing review thing as an ad recently. These chairs are expensive.
Yeah.
Secret Lab sent it to me, and I appreciate that. I've been sitting on this chair for at least a year now, and I weigh over 200 pounds. And a lot of times, I have a GT Omega over here that is a little narrow. It's not a bad chair, but a lot of times, the pistons start to clank around, and it just starts to. This is a quality chair. There is not a mark on it. The leather is still immaculate. And I sit in this chair usually 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week, 6 or 7 days a week. So I love this chair. And it's the only gaming chair where it doesn't come with that lumbar pillow because it has lumbar support built in. And then a lot of those chairs, the curve of the headrest is too much this way. So you always end up not being able to put your head back. But a memory foam pillow, and it just hits me right in that crick of the neck where you need your head to be supported when you're sitting back, man.
But can you do this?
I've fallen asleep in this chair many times.
Yeah.
So I really love this chair. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I get when people go buy the chair with my link.
Cool.
Go watch my video, buy it with the link. But I've gone through at least 5 different gaming chairs. OP Seat, GT Omega, a couple of others that were, sort of cheaper brands. None of them have been anything close to Secret Lab. Secret Lab is like a real chair.
The best non-gaming chair I ever bought, I still have in my other office. Steel case, and the model is the Jester.
Oh yeah,
with the G. And that cost me. I got it specifically because I was having some lower back problems. That cost me 800 Canadian dollars, which is probably 600 American.
My dream chair is still the Herman Miller Aeron.
Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, I'm sitting in. This is an AK Racing, and this is their mat. What's that?
I think they sell AK Racing chairs on the drop or on drop.
But AK Racing, this is their max model, and it's got a wider seat for the big asses. So I've fallen asleep with it many times in this, and I weigh. Well, when I bought this, I was over 400 pounds. I'm now 340. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely happy with this purchase. I like how the arms move in and out, up and down. Everything moves on this, and extremely comfortable. I've never had any problem with it. Viper has a couch. Okay. So Viper wins over all of us because we've seen on his podcast, or his live show on Fridays, he stretches out. Sometimes.
Yeah, once the podcast has gone on for 5 or 6 hours, Viper just goes to sleep.
Yep. He's just like, go, guys.
So, speaking of going to sleep, we're over 2 hours.
I was going to say
2 hours is the cutoff point. I think the podcast is going to be a little bit more of like less. I'm going to get the good stuff in there. But anyway, this has been a good conversation.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate the spirited debate.
I appreciate all the trolls tonight.
People's opinions. I appreciate that you're wrong. I
appreciate that you're wrong.
Because it gives me something to talk about.
Woo-wee.
But as for something to watch, I think that Chris Hemsworth movie on Netflix is really good.
Yeah.
The Jordan documentary, very good. If you haven't watched Tiger King, what the hell have you been doing with yourself? What are you doing? Tiger King.
Stay away from that trash. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just such a train wreck. I love it.
Carol Baskin.
I love it.
Carol Baskin.
Now, Brian, I know you believe every word you say. I know that you guys have a different opinion than me, and that's totally cool.
For all of y'all that watched this podcast tonight, or for those of y'all that will watch the replay or listen to the replay, can you all please come back next week? Please, for the love of God, I need all you all back here next week because this was great.
We got to put another triggering title, and that'll do it.
Yeah, I didn't intend to trigger anybody with my title, but I guess D. Niman was triggered. He was in here before the podcast started.
D. Niman, you thin-skinned soul, you.
That's right.
Anyway, hardly.
It's just so nice to be here with you guys on a Tuesday. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like people love me. Because otherwise, why would you? Well, I mean, maybe you're here for Zach and Viper, and that's totally cool too. I mean, but Painfully Honest Tech Podcast is a free form beast of something.
No, apparently I'm annoying to that one guy in the chat. Apparently.
Oh yeah, there's always some classy people. Go out, buy the iPhone SE, and be a genius. A very stable genius at that.
Vata Duva, well, however the hell you say that. You must be new here. You must be new.
The rest of you guys, thank you so much for being here. This has been the Painfully Honest Tech Podcast. Until the next time, we are out.